live. We're here. We're just hiding. We were in the dark. Cheryl will tell you I'm a perfect mushroom. I live in the dark.
He's Ken. I'm Cheryl, and this is Sunday Night Live Travel for focusing on accessibility in Europe this week.
And hi, Pam. Let's see. So hi, Pam.
Hello, Pam.
And hi, Rhonda. And hi, Rhonda. And Rhonda said hi to everybody.
Just live from Lakeside, and we are at our home office in mid-Florida. Pam is up in Nova Scotia. So you can let us know where you're watching from.
Yep. If you're watching on the replay, put it in the comments. If you watch the live late, put it in the comments. We always like to know where everybody's joining us from.
And you're welcome to put questions and comments in the chat.
Yep. And let's just say that sometimes I feel like I've been fed some stuff. Yeah. Oh, you got to have a little fun in life. Anyway, so we're going to talk today about Europe and about our cruise that's coming up. We'll come back to the next one later. So we told y'all a little bit last week. We're going from Barcelona to Civitavecchia in Italy on the Windstar Star Legend. And so we'll look at, I'll close that. We can look at a little bit of the Star Legend stuff here if I shared the screen. Share screen. Share a window. That window. Sure. So here's some of the dining venues on board the ship. This is right on the stern looking out over the wake. This is not a sailing ship. It is a powered ship. It's basically a giant yacht. There's, what did you say, Cheryl? 200?
There's 201 employees and 311 guests. So it's maybe a very comfortable trip.
Yeah. And there's some really cool things about this ship. This was one we Cheryl got for attending a seminar they put on, which is kind of disrupted all of our travel plans. But that's okay. It's a nice looking ship. Obviously, the stairwell is not for us, but for those of you that like heights, you could go there and stare down the stairwell. Let's see, a couple more here. The yacht club. Now, this is an all-suite ship, and so that makes it really nice. We have an interior suite, but we do have accessible suite, which is good. Now, we don't know about that. We haven't decided if this pool or hot tub is accessible. We got to have to take a look at it. And go ahead and click the next button. Their on-deck barbecue is Starved Grill, and it's by Stephen Rakelin, and he is a Michelin-starred chef. And in fact, between the inside meals and the outside, they have 2 Michelin-starred chefs. One's had 35 Michelin stars awarded to his restaurants. So we're expecting the food to be pretty good. Again, there is no assigned dining. It's just you figure out which restaurants you want to eat in, and you eat there, which is nice. And so we got a star deck plan. Let's we'll go with deck 4, I think. Yeah. So we're gonna make this bigger so I can find our cabin.
Which is our cabin?
4.
$437. I don't know why. So which one is ours? Do you know which one is ours?
I got to come down here and look and see which one, what the logo is for accessible. Oh, right here. We're at, and I said inside, it's not an inside cabin. I apologize. But we're in a 448, I think is the one we're in right here. Or 440, 450, one of these two right here. And you'll notice that they're accessible. They mark them a little different, which is why I had trouble finding them. There's a total, it looks like, of 4 accessible cabins on the ship, which is not a huge number. And there's not any of the upper. I didn't see any that were marked for any of the upper levels, but it's okay. That's a very convenient place. There's a lift right handy, so it'll work good. Okay. Anyway, so there's that. Let's see what we got over here. We have, well, let's see. We'll take a look at the pool area. Well, it looks like if they have a lift, it is a temporary lift that they put up when they need it. Let's see. So where else can we go here?
We'll find out if they have a lift. If they don't have a lift, we'll let them know they need to get a movable lift. Yeah, we were on one ship and they actually have to remove a glass panel around the pool, and then they use their lift to lift you in where the glass panel was.
Okay, so this is an ocean view. I don't remember if ours is ocean view or balcony, but it gives you an idea what the suite looks like.
So this is a regular. This is not.
This is not an accessible room, but walk-in closets, which is pretty neat on the ship. Let's go. That's reception.
Oh, this is interesting. Interactive map on the deck plan. That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
It looked like you were looking about at ours, where that was a minute ago.
Yeah, I think it was pretty close to that.
Yeah.
But anyway, one of the things that's cool about the Star Legend, Star Breeze ships is they have an open open bridge.
Oh, this is right. Yeah, you're welcome to go to the bridge at any time. And
you can go in and have a cup of coffee. You know, they didn't say they'll let you drive the ship, but it lets you go in and get a chat with the captain. So that's going to be pretty cool. And it's pretty much all the time. Oh, so Pam wanted to know, said it looks nice. And Rhonda Jacobs wanted to know how many nights. Well, this cruise is listed as 7 nights, but you actually get an extra night in Barcelona. So you spend 2 nights in Barcelona and you get an extra night in Civitavecchia for Rome. So basically you can stay on the ship 1 extra day before and after, which makes it really nice. Now we're flying in 2 days early, so we've got a hotel room reserved in Barcelona, and then we're coming back out of Rome the day on Monday after the ship gets in there on Sunday. So we'll spend the night and do some sightseeing, and then we'll be off to the airport to come back home. And needless to say, that the coming back home that was not a cheap ticket, but it's really worthwhile. We're looking forward to it. So I'm going to share now. It's really interesting that, that in Barcelona, there are, and well, actually in Europe, it's very easy to find accessible shore excursions. Now, not necessarily through the ship, because Star Legend didn't have that many accessible options. Let's scroll down on this page. But I just searched on accessible excursions, and here we go. 4-hour wheelchair accessible city tour. There's a 4-hour walking tour that's accessible, an 8-hour Gaudi tour. And then there's a tapas tour, Montserrat Monastery, Tarragona. Let's see. This might be fun. Wheelchair accessible wine tasting, but then you have to worry about Cheryl driving under the influence. Accessible wine and cava tour in Barcelona, and a wheelchair accessible hot air balloon flight in Barcelona. And they just keep. I mean, you look at the number of wheelchair accessible things there are to do, and to me, it's incredible that it was this easy. I mean, one Google search, and I have all of these things. And it is not anywhere else that we've been or seen that you can find this easily.
Of course, we're leaving at the last minute, so whether there's anything available or not, we'll find out. But we can at least do our own walking tour, I'm sure.
Yeah, so let's just do this one. Well, and in Barcelona, they also have a hop-on, hop-off bus that is accessible. So you get to go to see, if you take this one, there's all these things to see. You got an adapted vehicle. Basically, you go into the Sagrada Familia. It says no cobblestones, which is nice. You get to see all of that. Let's see. Let's see if I'm just looking to see if we get to a place where price is easy. No. Now I will say this: that almost all of these are private tours. So the fact that they're private tours mean they're more expensive. And some of the ones I looked at, were $600, $700, $800, but you could take 6 or 7 people. So if you're traveling with a large group, they become very affordable. If you're poor like us and just 2 of you, they're a little more expensive than you want them to be.
Yeah. So, okay. So
yeah.
That's Barcelona.
But anyway, and what we found is this was pretty true all over along the way. Do we have it's the next one?
Should I close that one?
Yeah, and close that one. Let's look at the one to the left up here.
Okay. Oh, it's another Barcelona.
Oh, that's
You
Barcelona.
just clicked on that one and it opened up another one.
Do we lose our niece? Which go to
I don't know. Star deck plans. Huh? I'm closing
yeah.
what we don't need. Yeah, that's it. It's the one down here.
Yeah. So this one is for Rome.
Oh.
And again, you can see them and they're set up obviously for a lot of them because there's 5 or 6 vehicles lined up. They have 30 vans and 32 drivers, which is very nice. And they will do tours pretty much all over Rome. Talks about the ways you can set it up.
Oh,
and then you got to message them. Again, there's not much in the way of pricing on these. I'm going to look here for just a second. Oh, well, here's another one. We'll just pop this one up here. No, I didn't want that. I wanted just the tab. Okay, so here was one for France.
I don't think you added it to the view. Where is
the red dot?
Huh? I don't know where StreamYard is.
Red dot.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay.
It ends automatically.
Oh, it did. Okay.
All right. So, what we found was we were looking at France because we will stop in Nice. Let's see if I'm right. Well, yeah. So we're going to go to Marseille. Then we're going to go to Nice. Nice is close to a bunch of cool stuff because you're close to Monaco, which is a principality. You're close to Cannes, which is where they have the film festival. Saint-Tropez, which is the place where all the rich people hang out. And then, like I said, Marseille. But all of these have accessible tours, which again is really, to me, just amazing that it's this easy to find what you want.
Okay. Okay, so we have some. Yeah, let's see. This says yes, it's true. Like sometimes you only need one accessible person. Yeah, so a fully accessible van isn't necessarily needed by all the passengers in the van.
Yeah,
that's true.
She's talking about in the room, the two.
Oh, the companion room.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's not. Yeah, I agree with you, Rhonda. It's not great planning. But I will say this, that it's, with only 300 passengers, the odds that you have that many that need accessibility are fairly low. Jessica.
yeah, that's true. I can do it just fine.
So you guys are making fun of, everybody agrees that Cheryl's okay driving the wheel under influence. Yeah, no doubt I'm outnumbered. I'm always outnumbered. But anyway, so we're looking forward to this now. In Nice, they have a hop-on, hop-off bus.
We weren't planning on stopping at the casinos, but if someone offers us to sell us one, we'll get it for you.
Yeah. Well, if we wind up in Monaco, because in Nice we have 2 nights, which is what makes this cruise so unique. Is that we have 2 nights in Barcelona. One we don't do an overnight in Marseille. We just have a full day in Marseille. But then from Marseille to Nice is a fairly short trip. We're at Nice early on the first day and we leave late on the second day. So there's a lot of opportunity to sightsee in Nice. We'll just have to see what works. And, so then it's from there, it's on around from Nice, we're going to go. Let's see where we're going. not to Genoa, but we're going La Spezia. We're going to Livorno, which is right here.
And Livorno is where we've interviewed a woman from that area that does accessible tours. She does not have a lift van, but she has strong young men who will roll you up her ramps into the van. So we may give that a try and let you know how that works.
As I said, Pam would like to be staying overnight. Yeah. So we're really amazed at this. We'll know a lot more after we take the cruise. We're looking forward to it a lot. But from Livorno, you're close to both Florence and Pisa. So you can go see the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And then let's see where exactly Florence is. So Florence is back inland. They're not necessarily in the same direction. And this is the area of, I believe this whole area here is called Tuscany. This is the part of Italy it is. And then from Livorno, we'll go down to
Civitavecchia. Right there.
Yeah, Civitavecchia. So this is the port for Rome. So it's a little bit of a drive-in every day to Rome, but I'm pretty sure we'll spend one full day sightseeing in Rome, and then the next day we'll just get a transfer from the ship to the airport in Rome, so that we can fly out. We're going to see how Cheryl does. We have long flights, and we don't have lay flat seating. We're
really looking forward to this, and I do believe that this ship is a really good price because they need to fill it up quickly.
Yeah. So let's see.
It's a great opportunity to see Europe, some of Europe.
Was this one the ones or?
I don't know which one that is.
No. Okay. All right. So I'm going to just give me a second here. I'm going to look for one. We'll pull that out of the screen there. Because I had one that was Italy. Maybe all right. Give me 1 second here. But because Italy is another place that has lots of accessible tours.
We'll be working on this for the next couple of weeks, trying to figure out what we're going to do. Normally, you plan this way months in advance, at least. So,
looking back,
the wheel will make it easy to get around, though.
Okay. Because there was another map that. There we go. Like this is another map.
Oh, this one is prices.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Are you going to share it?
Yes, I was trying to make it. I'm just trying to shrink it. There we go.
Nice.
Okay. So bring this map back in. But again, you can see all of the places that you can find accessible tours in Italy. And again, the very interesting thing about it is, it's just so easy to find these. Now let's see if they have. Let me pull down. There's Venice, so that's one. We have next the 11-day cruise we're taking in 2015. 2025, yeah. Okay.
You'll get it.
I'll catch up here in a minute. It goes to quite a few. It's 12 ports in 11 days, and it starts in Barcelona. It's come around the same way. I'm pretty sure it stops in Livorno and Civitavecchia. And then I think there is maybe one more over here. Then it goes to Malta. And then from Malta, it goes over to, so we're looking for, there's Dubrovnik and Split. And then it goes up to Venice. So that's 12 ports in 11 days. So you don't have any of the long overnights like we're going to enjoy on this one.
It'll be NCL, so it's very affordable. They've got a really good rate on it, and it's 2 years away, so you've got plenty of time to plan for that one.
Yeah, you have a couple of years, and the nice thing is it's about, I want to say $400, maybe less than that a person.
Including airfare.
That includes your airfare, your tips, everything. Because I just, rather than hassle with it, it's just easier to bundle it all into one.
Let's see. So Rhonda has a question about have you booked a shore excursion for January, February?
We hadn't looked, so.
No. We weren't sure what we want to do in Hawaii. I've been to Hawaii several times, and so we'll have to see what happens there.
Okay, so let's just take a quick look and see what we can find. So is it accessible? Oh, I know at least one site there that does accessible tours.
Oh, Wheel of the World has some. Looks like maybe or not.
Yeah, those are probably full tours. Okay, so let's see what we got here.
Oh, you have to share it then, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so we found one company. There's a couple companies that are listed.
Yeah, so let me put that back in there. Okay, so we have wheelchair accessible, includes full options and or a location that's accessible. And we have the Bikini Bottom Dance Cruise, a Waikoloa whale watching tour, gyroplane flight lessons. So Cheryl and Pam can go flying.
I don't mind flying. I don't like gondolas. Gondolas don't have wings, and they're not over the water.
So we got a couple of luau's. These prices aren't too bad considering accessible. Waikiki, that'll be not cheap. Helicopter rides.
So these are all accessible on here?
That's what it said.
All tours?
No, it said these are all accessible.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
So anyway, that's on Oahu. Let's see what's on Maui. Okay. Now, I'm not sure these. So let's look.
These are too long for me. 11 hours. Wow.
Yeah. Well, it goes all the way around.
Oh, I couldn't do it.
Oh, yeah. That one doesn't look like so. Let's do it this way. Let's go back down to.
Oh, making my eyes go crazy.
Go back to accessible. Go tours. All right, so let's go back this way. Okay. All right. Oh, there we go. Path to Pali. Lots of helicopter rides.
That was the page we were on earlier.
Oh, load more.
Oh, so this
Molokai, yeah.
so
Maui.
all the different islands, what's accessible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a private chef in Maui. Toalui at Waimea Valley. Rainforest. Maui's luau. Afternoon snorkel. Go see on the Big Island. We can go see the volcano.
That's okay.
Kauai helicopter.
Okay.
Anyway, so it looks like there ought to be some options, Rhonda.
Yeah, some of them look a little bit out of our price league, but some of them are all right.
Okay, Rhonda, and to add, your question is an interesting question. So let's put it up.
Let's see. Hold on here. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Too big, so there you go. And looking for a transatlantic for June 2024, Cunard. Oh yes, Cunard.
Cunard was our last cruise, and let's just say that they're not my favorite cruise line. And for a crossing, I think they're great because they do it quickly. We're looking at in 2025 to go over for that cruise. We're looking at taking Holland America out of Fort Lauderdale, and it's like 16 days to get to Barcelona. So that's, you do 16 days that way, do 11 days. Now we're at 27 days on the ships, and we still haven't gotten back home. Whereas if you go from New York to Southampton on the Queen Mary 2, it's 7 days. So that's a good thing. But all I can say is at 70 years old, I was way too young for that ship.
Well, no, it was a very quiet ship for people who prefer to read books and maybe go to the planetarium and play cards and play card games and
and sleep on the deck with the blankie and
with your book.
With your book, yes.
That can like, more loud music and different kinds of music.
Yes, I wanted some more modern music than big band and symphonic music. I'm a fan of some. Let's throw some rock and roll in there.
Is excellent on Cunard. The service is excellent on Cunard.
It was great service.
Your room stewards are wonderful. Everything was great. It was just a very quiet ship. So if you really want quiet, it's great. And if you take it back, like if you come back on it after your busy time in Europe, to come back on a Cunard, because it'd be a great way to wind down and come back home and not be really tired.
Yeah. And they do a fair job with accessibility. Our accessible cabin was good. So
yes.
Yeah, we had one that was accessible, one that wasn't. The one that wasn't, we still could have taken a folding scooter in there.
You just have to be able to step up into the bathroom.
Yeah.
They have a lot of carpet on the ship. On the Queen Mary, you're going to have to, I just wanted to go up to the 7th floor to cross because there's the least amount of carpet there.
Yeah, and you can go out on the deck on 7.
And I did suggest to them that when they redo it, they make strips of tile or wood where people with wheelchairs and walkers can zip along fast.
Yeah, because the zine does not like thick carpet. It was a challenge.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But so it wasn't like it was a bad cruise. There's some things that wasn't my favorite.
If you are in the if you book the Britannia class, which is the
steerage
lower levels, it's I was gonna say it's extremely affordable. It can be cheaper than flying sometimes, especially when it's on sale. Okay, somebody wants to know how good are Pam's baked goods and Rhonda's. Well, I'm going to tell you a story then related to baked goods and raising funds. When I had my braces on, which was right before the pandemic, which wasn't very good because I had them on for years. I didn't want to go back for a long time. And that my dentist there was in, they were already dentists to become people who could do your braces. Orthodontist. So his mother had put him through school by selling baked goods. That was her second. It's like she had a regular job, but then in the evening she would bake goods several times a year and have these huge baked good sales for her son to go to dental school, and she just sold a ton of stuff. I guess she did it at the right time when people wanted to have a lot of baked goods around the house, like around the holidays. So there's an idea for you there.
But so anyway, like I said, I would sell Cunard again and without a problem. And like I said, for crossings, and again, for a crossing, there is some advantages to, like I said, first of all, it's short, but they have a library, because if you have nothing to do but read for 7 days, you're going to run out of books. You're not going to want to carry your own library. So they have a very nice library.
6,000 to 8,000 books on the Cunard ships.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great story. Yes. I know. It makes me think maybe if I ever get really broke, I think I could make a living. I can cook pretty good.
Yep. You can look at my size and tell. But so anyway, like I said, it's just about learning to search is to find the accessible excursions. Like I said, Hawaii, we came up real quick and real easy, and there's another provider there too. There are some trails. It's really funny. I interviewed a young lady that she told a bunch of stories, but she went to, there's an accessible trail that goes out to a point in Hawaii. And she said for her, it was accessible because she was in a power chair. Her friend was in a manual chair, and it was a long trail and it was uphill, and it wasn't accessible for her friend. But what she did is her friend grabbed onto the back of her power chair, and then it was accessible for both of them to go up and see this lookout. But the battleship memorial there, the Arizona, should be accessible. And most everything there should be fairly accessible, in town. Accessible transportation. I wouldn't count on a taxi, because our success with finding accessible taxis is not great. But finding somebody that can do the shore excursion for you, and there's probably, actually, let's look and see. Wahoo. Oh. So there is a Waikiki trolley that, let's see. There's a whole bunch of them in Waikiki. They're hop on and hop off. Let's see if they're accessible.
Yeah. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they have two that are and one or two that aren't, and you have to plan your time back right and get allow extra time.
I just haven't got, actually right here.
Yeah. Oh, can I bring a wheelchair?
So they all have hop on, hop off trolley in Oahu, or in Honolulu area, are ADA compliant.
So we still have our research to do for that one too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's after, that's after because we leave. I have a conference this week. We're back for a week. Then we leave on our Celebrity Ascent cruise. So we're going to be in the very first sailing in the U.S. of the Celebrity Ascent. So we'll let you know what accessibility is like. And that is an Edge class ship. So it should be the same for all the rest of the Edge class ships as well. So we're looking forward to that. Then we're on the Norwegian Viva, its first sailing in the U.S. Again, we have an accessible balcony cabin. Now, if it's as good as the Prima's accessible interior or ocean view cabin is, it was huge. It
was really big.
Yeah, it was a very nice
I think
cabin.
It was about 16 or 17 feet wide and about 20, 25 feet long.
Yeah.
It was a huge room. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
We have a question here from someone named C. Is Europe accessible? What cities, what cruise ships? And so here's the thing. We were just talking about the cruise ships usually don't have enough accessible spaces. Even if they say they have accessible tours, a lot of times it's only one or two places. So a lot of times we book our own. But cruise companies are adding a lot of accessible tours. They're realizing the baby boomers need them. And so hopefully there'll be more and more. You just have to check each ship and whether it's already booked. It's, the earlier you book and the earlier you book your accessible tour, the more likely you'll get it. But sometimes when we go on accessible tours on cruise ships, we found that it was accessible if you could fold your wheelchair and walk up into the bus, which we don't call that accessible. So that's why sometimes we try to make our own private tours. And Europe is better, I've heard, with a good scooter that has a high axle line because the cobblestones and things. And a lot of it isn't accessible. I mean, I've heard some of the towns are just huge, tall hills with steps everywhere. They're like built on cliffs, and it's just not going to be accessible. So you need
Santorini and it might be Mykonos that are on islands where you have to tender to get there are going to be questionable. But most of Europe has accessibility requirements as good as, and might be better than the U.S. It's not called ADA there, but there is a term for it. I actually interviewed a gentleman that works for that organization, but his interview was just not. I couldn't get the text right on it, and it just didn't work out for me to air it. But he was talking about he lives in Rome, but works with the organization out of Brussels, which is is where the headquarters of the EU is. But we looked here just Googling, accessible tours for Rome and for Barcelona and for Nice. All of them pulled up a bunch of accessible, and they showed pictures. These are vehicles with ramps you can drive your vehicle into. Now, I know that some of the facilities in Rome, some of the the really old buildings like the amphitheater or like the Colosseum, that there are limits to what you can see. In other words, you're not necessarily going to be able to go everywhere in the Colosseum because they didn't want to put elevators to mar up it. But in Europe, here's an interesting thing: is Edinburgh Castle, which was built in 1100 in Edinburgh, Scotland, is accessible.
They when they were updating it, they just went ahead and put it up, and that was nice.
Yeah, and
thanks,
so
Rhonda. Thanks, Pam.
And so what I would say is that if you're having trouble finding, that's what Cheryl and I do. We're good at that, of finding what you're looking for. So just reach out to us. We're always glad to help. But you can find accessible. Now, they may not be through the cruise line. You may need to do some on your own. Like I said, we found out that in Nice and in Barcelona, they have hop-on, hop-off buses that you can get on that have wheelchair lifts. So that makes it easy and makes it easy and inexpensive. Because as I started the session today, we talked about the fact that because a lot of these are private tours. In other words, if you're traveling, two of you traveling, it is you two and the driver. The price per person gets pretty high for some of this, just because it is more challenging. I don't think you'll see they have the big buses like the tour buses I took both at Kennedy Space Center and the ones associated with the Rocky Mountaineer. They had lifts that just came out the side, and they could put 4 wheelchairs total on there. So it's just it depends on the situation. But the hop-on, hop-off buses in both Nice and in Barcelona do have an accessible. They're wheelchair accessible. They have a wheelchair lift, and that's a great way for very inexpensive, $20-$30 a day. You can go around and see all of it, and because it stops at a lot of these tourist attractions, you can just get off and see. Now, I will say the one challenge maybe is getting tickets, because a lot of places in Italy you have to be able to have a ticket to get in. Like in Barcelona, the Sagrada Familia Cathedral, you have to have a ticket for it. So a tour agent will buy up a bunch of tickets, and they typically have them. But for the individual that walks up same day, you may have more challenges. So it's good to plan that out in advance, if that makes sense, hopefully. But like I said, it's been easier finding information about accessibility in Europe than it is in the U.S. Though Hawaii, I was pleasantly surprised because it popped up.
So we would love to hear your cruise to Bermuda. We honeymooned in Bermuda. That was many moons ago. So and then we went back to Bermuda, and Ken was not well on that trip, so we didn't really do a lot. But when we were there for our honeymoon, we rode mopeds. So obviously we weren't in the accessibility mode at that time.
Let's see.
So Ken's searching for Bermuda right now.
Yeah.
Well, one thing about it hopefully you're staying. I believe most of the cruise ships now stay in Bermuda more than one day, because when we stayed there on our honeymoon, of course we flew in and we stayed at a bed and breakfast just off from the downtown area. So it was easy to get around and see everything. It's a small island, but now it's built up in all that time. And the cruise ships are kind of farther out, and if you find an inexpensive cruise to Bermuda that doesn't spend the night there, don't expect to do much but to see the beach close to the cruise ship and use that, because it takes quite a while, they said, now with the traffic, to get around to the other end of the island and back.
Okay, so to answer your Bermuda question, Accessible taxis in Bermuda. I'll give you 2 numbers there. Your ferries are, and the ferries are really cool because you can go out and see a lot from the ferries, but they're accessible. The public buses do not have wheelchair accessibility. There are Bermuda Island Tours, runs accessible tours. There's a haunted history tour. There are accessible beaches that have beach wheelchairs. So this one is Horseshoe Bay. It has a limited number of beach wheelchairs there.
We rented a beach wheelchair from Special Needs Group one time, and you had to have a big cabin for that wheelchair. The wheelchair was about the size, the box was about the size of a small couch.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it took up a lot of room, and it was also kind of a low sitting one, but we did use it, made some videos with it, and it will work out for those who maybe are in a nice suite who really need one.
Yeah. See, and so as I said, Fort St. Catherine there in Bermuda is mostly accessible, and that's old forts are typically that way. But the aquarium, the National Gallery, the Underwater Exploration Institute is accessible.
It's a beautiful island. I love all the flowers there. It's like one big garden with hotels.
Yeah. So anyway, there's quite a few options in Bermuda for accessibility. If you're going soon.
Yes, we'd love to hear about your tour if it worked or not. Maybe a few photos if they have a lift. And 5 days there would be great. You should be able to see everything on the island, I would think, in 5 days. Unless it's a 5-day cruise and you're only there for a few days. That would be a question. Okay, so Rhonda says, Ken, can you include the links or addresses for the tour sites used today in the comments?
Yep, I'll put it in the description. I'll put links for all of those for you.
We'll close some of them. You'll have to look them back up.
Yeah, but it's not a problem. I'll find you some for everywhere we talked about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, motorized scooter will be nice. Hopefully it should be nice. I did love Bermuda. It is beautiful. It's breathtaking. The water is breathtaking, just like all the other Caribbean islands. I know it's not in the Caribbean, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, and the water's a little cool. I don't know if we've ever told you guys that story, but let's just say that we're not sure they'll let us off the ship when we go to Bermuda next time. I'm pretty sure that I cannot rent a scooter, a moped.
They probably have his picture up on the wall there.
Probably still, and that was 45 years ago, and they probably still have it because I totaled a moped beyond what anybody would believe that I could survive, and I survived. But it was, and then I went back as soon as I got out of the hospital. I went to see if they give me another moped. They're like, no, but you can have a 2-seater, and your wife can drive.
So that's what we did.
Yeah, but I came back to the bed and breakfast with stitches, and Cheryl came back to the bed and breakfast with a sandburn on her face because I was trying to put her in the cold water and she didn't want to go.
Yeah, we went the first week in April, so that was pretty chilly. So I didn't want to get in the water.
But yeah, and so we'll put it all in. But and again, I tell you what, the one thing that's changed even since the before the pandemic, when I started doing what we do, is it's getting easier to find stuff. Companies and countries are becoming more focused on accessibility. Yeah, Cheryl thought she was going to be married to a vegetable. I had blood coming out of my ear and making weird noises. But anyway, chilly. Yeah.
Chilly. She said chilly. Yes, it was cold in April there. For the water.
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't get to go scuba diving then because he had stitches in his head. Yes,
but so I will say you'll like Bermuda. Cheryl got some really nice cashmere, wasn't it?
Sweater, they have wonderful. Yeah, that's the thing about Bermuda. Take some shopping money if there's anything you wanted from Europe, because they do have some nice stores there with glassware and mugs, and they had beautiful woolens. And I got a shawl there. It's nice, high quality stuff that they sold there years ago, and I'm sure they still do.
Yeah, because they're, and it's a very British island. It's a place you would find them having tea in the afternoon. But like I said, we enjoyed Bermuda a lot. And as going back to what I was talking about is it's getting easier to find information. Yeah, because my first time we were trying to go to a private island for NCL, and they said they had beach wheelchairs, and that was all it said. And I'm like, okay, where do you get them? What do they cost? Just so many questions that came up. And it's interesting because in the conversation we had with Alex Zeitz about 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, he talked about how that Virgin Voyages is really working hard at finding accessible excursions. Again, they may not be cheap, but they're trying to make sure that they have accessible excursions in every port that it's possible. Like I said, Santorini, because it's up a pretty steep cliff. In fact, most able-bodied passengers that want to go up ride donkeys. They have a funicular, so I guess it might be accessible, but you still have a problem with the tender. And the problem with the tender in the Greek Isles is because the ships and the docks are not always the same height. You wind up it's just not easy to have a roll on, roll off like we had at Turks and Caicos and in.
Are folks considerate with scooters on ships, crowds, and elevators? Maybe I can answer this because I'm the user of it. Yes, most of the time they are. I will just warn you, the first day on a cruise ship, maybe you found this yourself, nobody knows where they're going. They're in the elevator 4 times as much, trying to get to where they really belong, which end of the ship they want. Sometimes that elevator doesn't go to that floor. And so the elevators are crazy the first day. Be patient. Just be happy to be on the ship, that you made it on time. You're going to have a great cruise. And then the next day, pretty much everybody's kind of figured out where their room is, where the dining room is. And it's much better. And people realize a lot of stuff is 1 floor up, and they'll just take the steps, and it gets a lot better. And so after the first day, I'd say yes. Sometimes the buffets can be kind of crowded, but I'm sure that on Royal Caribbean, they will, on most ships, they'll find someone to help you get your food in the buffets if you just tell them what you want.
Yeah.
But
usually they make Cheryl have a crew. They make a crewman follow Cheryl around, and she gets to pick what she wants, and then they bring her on her tray for her.
Yeah, and that Royal Caribbean should be great. I think you'll have a wonderful time on Royal Caribbean with the scooter, and more people are on using scooters and wheelchairs. So if they weren't, even the other guests are going to be considerate. A lot of them will have relatives that use them now. I think you'll be fine. I don't think you'll feel out of place. I don't feel put down because I have a scooter on the ship anymore. I feel very comfortable. I prefer cruise ships with my scooter than I do hotels, or than I do land, honestly.
Yeah. And I will say that the one thing that we've run into a couple of times, and there is a solution for it, is people just running around you getting in the elevator.
Yeah, this is what Pam is saying. That a lot of people just come. Yeah, they don't let you get off, and they don't want you to get on either. But it's not that often.
But Cheryl and I have a solution to that. You just jam your scooter up against the door. Well, not really up, but I mean, you fill the space where people have to come out, and you move over just enough so they can get out. And and then as soon as everybody's out, you go in. And then if they're having trouble getting out when it stops, you just back up, and they'll either move or they'll learn they should have moved.
It's okay. Let's see. And Rhonda has a comment about remember both the scooter, but also yes, polite. Yes, a kind word goes a long way when people are impatient or upset. And like I said, once the first day's over, everybody's more relaxed because, traveling there is a little bit, especially if you're running late or if your flight was a problem. By the time they get on the ship, they're kind of worn out. But the next day, it'll all be better. So, C asks, do you go on tours on cruise ships or just hang out on the boat? We've done both. If it's like Grand Bahamas, where we've been so many times, we hang out on the boat. The great thing about hanging out on the boat, on a port that you're not really interested in or that you've seen before, you practically have the boat to yourself. Or the ship.
And I'm going to tell the captain she called him a boat.
It's a ship, yeah. And but anyway, it's a ship. Remember to call it a ship, not a boat. And And it is great. I mean, like if you want to get in the pool and not have a lot of people watching you, port day is the day to do it. Like either do it early in the morning and then maybe just go to the port just a little bit in the afternoon, and you will have the pool almost to yourself probably. And if you're looking for something to eat, then not everything is open on the port days, but you'll be there by yourself for the most part until about 2:00 probably. Let's see, Pam says, sometimes I stand there and put my hands up, tell everybody I'm next. Don't anybody try and get on this elevator. That might work too. Yeah. You know what? Sometimes, I don't know about you, C, but when I'm in my scooter, it's worse on the wheelchair than it is in the scooter. You feel invisible. People will talk about you, but not to you. They look right over you. They act like they don't see you. They almost run into it. It's just crazy. But it's better on the cruise ships, I think. People are more relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes we have to speak to ourselves. Yes, that's true. Sometimes we have to speak up. Otherwise, you're going to get run over or run over somebody.
And if you got a horn, you can just always go beep, beep, beep.
Oh, yes. Port days are a lot of fun on this ship. Yes, they are. But it's great to see a port. I mean, if nothing else, I think at a port, if you've never been there before, you really want to at least get off and even just take your scooter, even just sometimes around the port, they have little shops and things you can ask and you can go. They always have on the ships the day before or 2 days before, they'll have someone talking about that port. And they'll sometimes they have groups. Like one time we just followed along with a group and just went to the different shops and, so it's like Ken's not fond of the shops.
Yeah, but I mean, we didn't pay for the tour, but we took the tour.
Yeah. But yeah, we just followed along. But so it's you'll have a good time and try to see the port and definitely get out in there on Bermuda. You do not want to miss Bermuda.
Okay, Pam, enjoy grandkids. We'll talk to you next week. By the way, Pam, Christy Durso is back on next week. I think I told y'all last week that she gave such a powerful speech and has some great stories that I wanted her to share, including one about zip lining and some other things with some people that weren't planning on zip lining. So anyway, she had some great stuff to share. So she'll be here.
Yeah. Oh, and then one other thing I wanted to say I just thought about with the elevators and things like that. I know on some of the cruise ships and Royal Caribbean staff have done this. If it's just so busy and I can't get there, they will get an elevator for you. A lot of times they do that when you want to, especially for like when you're going on an excursion, they usually have a special elevator that they will take you down to the floor where you get off on. And so just ask staff, just say, you know what, I can't catch an elevator and I'm supposed to be going, and they'll help you.
Yeah. So, and here's another trick that does work is catch it going up and then just stay on it until you get to where you want to go. We see that happens a lot, especially with luggage. You'll see on the day you're debarking, especially all these people that carry all their luggage off with them. You'll see the whole elevator full of people with luggage. So what you do is you let it go down, and then when it comes back up, you get on, and then you have a shot at being on it, coming back down.
Yes, going the wrong direction is a really big help a lot of times. It's kind of stupid, but it works. And you're welcome. See, I hope that you have a great trip. I'm sure you will. You can tell us all about it. And we hope we're here next week and hear what Christy Durso has to say about traveling.
Yeah, and she has some real practical advice too. No, we actually met the first time when we were at the Cruise World.
We just met, yes.
Yeah, and she is a sweetheart. We interviewed her some time back, but she told some things that I thought would be good for you guys to hear, because she has some suggestions about the way you deal with the airlines if they don't have your scooter when they're up when it's supposed to be. There are some things, she and Sylvia Longmire both do a great job of explaining, some of the things about accessible travel that you need to plan. And eventually I'm going to put a bunch of what I know into a course for everybody as well. Okay, well, anyway, we've gone on longer than usual. We like to talk. What can I say? I hope everybody has a nice weekend. See, again, join us. We're here every week, Sunday evenings, unless we're on a ship somewhere where we don't have internet. And so next weekend we'll be here. I don't know about the weekend after. I have to look to see, because we're going to be on, like I said, on both the Celebrity Ascent and the Norwegian Prima. And it's funny, you were talking about staying on the ships. Both of those ships are going to Nassau. We've been to Nassau a whole bunch of times. We may get off and film the new terminal because that's there. But other than that, we'll be back on the ship working in Nassau.
All right.
Everybody have a nice evening. We'll see everybody same bat time, same bat channel next week.
Bye.